Some huge shout outs, and we should give a nice round of applause to Kona Brewing Company for supplying all of the wonderful beer tonight. To Volcano Winery from the Big Island providing all of the wine, which they took out to Box Jelly for donating this wonderful space and having all of you come. And then I also want to send a huge shout out to Shanah, because everyone knows her. We could have not got all of you here. She really helped me coordinate this from the Big Island for the last 2 months. The theme of this event is the first of many. And what we're trying to do here is really integrate the whole B Corp revolution, if you will, and integrating what pretty much intrinsically already works really well in Hawaii. So I actually grew up here as a little kid, and my parents unfortunately moved me to Texas and then to New Jersey in junior high school. And I have been fighting to get back ever since. I even taught at Castle High School for a while prior to my current career as well. And my dad actually was the regional director for Pfizer, and Linda O'Grady's here, so she worked for my dad. Hello, Linda. And so they actually retired from Oahu to Arizona. So you can imagine that my sister and I pretty much threw a family rebellion on that one. So anyway, I thank you all for coming, and without further ado, I'd like to get started with Lauren Roth Venu, with the Sustainability Association of Hawaii, to introduce how this really impacts Hawaii locally, but more importantly, what the issues are related to B Corps in Hawaii, what they mean, and how we can benefit from them, to be redundant. And here you go. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, everyone. I put my beer down, I guarantee I would have spilled it. So anyway, well, it's great to see you guys, and thanks for being here. And I'm just going to take a few minutes just to introduce Sustainability Association of Hawaii. How many people here know about SH? All right, well, we got about half. That's good. So in general, like, how many people here, like, care about sustainability? All right. How many people are professionals in sustainability? All right. How many people are doing community work in sustainability? And how many people have businesses that are B Corps? All right. Look, I think we covered about everyone in the room. So essentially, Sustainability Association of Hawaii is really has a mission statement to educate, promote, and advocate for all of you guys to get Hawaii moving toward the green economy. So that means it's not just businesses, it's not just the technologies, it's not just the communities doing all their hard effort. It's really a collaborative effort of all of those things, because as we all know, you know, sustainability is really the three-legged stool or triple bottom line, and it's, well, yeah, there we go. And the way that I like to see it is the Lauhala mat of really all those things. It's the way we all weave together and move forward to really, get Hawaii towards what green economy is really about, which is a collaborative effort. So SAH is really just the voice of individuals and businesses to get us moving there. And we have a three-legged stool, almost, if you will, with professionals, practitioners, businesses, and advocating with government officials. And our board is even really diverse. I've been a board member just for a year. I'm actually have one leg in the private sector and one leg in the nonprofit. I'm actually in the water industry, but we cover a wide array of folks, from people in academia to people who have their own businesses to event planners. We really want to have a really diverse group of people, because our people who we represent are really diverse. We have everyone from businesses you wouldn't even think about being in the tourist industry, to those you recognize maybe in the solar world, to landscape architects, to nonprofit groups. And really, we really just want to represent everyone and really have a voice for you as we move forward, pushing towards advocating green building, green economy, and so forth. So some of the member benefits we have at SAH include events like this, which is like training and educating. We try to promote these events early so that you all can get in here and get a spot. We also had a track with the Build and Buy Green conference a couple years ago, where we had a whole section of a day discussing about green business issues and policy. And really, like, when you're involved with SAH, you get involved in these events and these trainings, and you really have us representing you as a voice. And advocacy is a huge deal for us at SAH. So if you want to become a member, and this sounds in any way kind of interesting, please go to our website. The website is right here, www.sahawaii.org. It's really easy, you just click on the tabs, but for a limited time offer, today we are offering half price membership. So if you're not a member and are interested in learning more, if you want to go ahead and get a decal, which is something you can represent at your building, at your office, for example, that you're for the green economy and are a member of SAH, you can get one today. Daito, maybe raise your hand. She's the woman to talk to if you have any more questions. And also if you want to sign up today and receive your half-off discount. So that was just a little opening just to introduce SAH, because we're really huge supporters of B corporations, GRI trainings, all the stuff that you're going to be learning more tonight. And so without further ado, I want to introduce Rob Kinslow, who's one of our newest board members, who will be presenting about B Corp. All right, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see so many new faces. This is quite an exciting night that we have here. But I mean, there's very familiar faces, but oh my God, I haven't seen so many new faces excited about sustainability in one place in a long time. Except when I go teach, go to elementary schools and teach. And then I really get a lot of charge off of them. So I'm looking forward to getting the charge off of you tonight. I'm Rob Kinslow, and I guess I started in doing a for-purpose type of enterprise back in '96 when in California we were experimenting with merging for-purpose and for-profit type of entities. And there was it was kind of a hodgepodge, ad hoc type of arrangement in California. We didn't really know what we were doing. We were just knowing that we were trying to do business better. We were trying to make a difference. We were trying to blend the profit motive with the people motive and the planet motive. So I kind of bought a house and invited groups to come into the house, and I put the house in an LLC, and then we just basically broke even for 10 years. And so we ran that. We had offices in the house, and we ran that on a rotating basis for kind of like this space here, but on a much smaller scale. And that was my first kind of experience with blending for-profit and for-purpose, for-benefit type of enterprises. And I hope that tonight, after you see this presentation and after you walk out of here and hear what Trent's going to say, that you're going to maybe consider this in your own life and maybe try to set up a B Corp or a for-benefit corporation in Hawaii in your own enterprise area. But getting back to this, the benefit corporation started with N1, and N1, the owners of N1 sold their business, and the new owners right away got rid of the values, the value statement, got rid of the for-benefit part of it, and went right back to for-profit only. But then the owners moved on and they founded B Lab. And B Lab is now a certification type of organization that certifies that the business that you're conducting is actually, adheres to the benefit type of arrangement in business. And so tonight we're going to talk about a little bit about these four things. Trent's going to really talk about this later. I'm going to briefly mention, do I have a pointer on this? No, probably not. No. Oh, that wasn't a good thing to do. Oh, no, that's not a bad thing to do. Okay, so we're going to briefly talk about gears, and we're going to mostly talk about legislation and kind of what B Lab is all about. So let's move on. B Lab serves the world's leading entrepreneurs that use business to solve social. How many people have heard of the triple bottom line? So some people haven't. So we'll talk about the triple bottom line a little bit and how that works with your business. And so we're solving social and environmental problems through business, not just solving wealth or prosperity or trying to make the owners of the business wealthy. We're actually trying to address these other two areas. Okay, so gears is a global impact. So if you're an investor, and now the word today is impact investor. So if you want to have impact in your investment, you're called an impact investor. Usually that means impact for good, not impact for bad. So gears is this rating system that measures how much good you're doing and you're impacting, or how much impact you're having, you're investing. It's a transparent system to assess the social and environmental impact of companies and funds. So in a way, it's a little bit like, let's say, fair trade is to coffee. So, we really don't know how much progress we're making towards sustainability or towards doing business in a good way for good, unless we measure that business. You can't manage what you can't measure. You can't measure what you can't manage. So these things need to be measured and managed, and that's what gears is about. And to actually then inspire the investment community to actually, the people who are trying to do investments to actually do good due diligence so that they can invest with good impact in mind. So we're going to talk a little bit about legislation and recognizing benefit corporations. So what is a benefit corporation? How many people have heard the term benefit corporation before? So a little bit less than triple bottom line. So it's a new class of corporation. It's actually not a traditional class of corporation. It's a new class. And you have to create a positive impact on society and the environment. You actually have more than one metric. It's not just the bottom line, it's the triple bottom line. It's a triple bottom line that at the intersection of people, place, and profits, we practice what's called sustainability. How many people use triple bottom line in their business? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So we have some work to do. I mean, everybody, we need to make profits, but we also need to take care of the earth and take care of our people. And I mean, in this environment of volatility that we see ourselves in, whether it's climate volatility or business volatility or social and cultural volatility, it's even more important that business be a part of the solution, yeah? So this is what a benefit corporation is designed to do. And it actually expands the fiduciary duty. So as a board member or as an employee or as an owner of a business, your fiduciary duty is now not just to financial considerations, but also non-financial interests. So those non-financial interests are normally not even measured in business. For example, the effect on the environment or the effect on the people into which your business is embedded. Those things are not normally even considered, except as an aside. So the non-financial interests are being brought now into the mix so that we can consider them and measure them and then say we're a benefit corporation. So then you report out too. So not only is it an internal thing, it's also an external thing. So you report out to the community. So the community knows what you're doing. It can become this kind of asset to your business to be actually considered a positive force in the community. So this is really what a benefit corporation is. A benefit corporation, in summary, practices sustainability at the intersection of these three spheres. So maybe I covered a little bit of this already, but these are some of the advantages to a business of being a benefit corporation. For example, you can leverage, I just spoke about leveraging sustainability and social innovation as a competitive advantage, as a marketing tool. That used to be called greenwashing. We're hoping that people aren't greenwashing their businesses by just paying lip service to these values. But we are very much interested in seeing people actually practicing what they preach and actually walking the talk. And that's really what the competitive advantage, the value of the competitive advantage really is in the future. And you have a legal protection. Your officers and your fiduciary agents are not so that they don't have to be a slave to just the profit motive. In other words, you have legal protection to consider these other things in your decision making, so that if you make a decision that's based on people, planet, profit, and somebody disagrees with you, they can't sue you and say you didn't take care of my interests as an owner or a shareholder. Yeah. So now we have a legal protection for that. How many people knew most of this already? Okay. Good. Back up. Yes. All right. Good. So that's good to see. I saw maybe 5 hands, so I'm glad to hear that. Glad to see that. So the ultimate goal now, of course, is to get the IRS to say, hey, this is something that we can agree with too. Now, that we haven't done. That is maybe a federal level designation, legislation is something that we need to pay a lot of attention to. With a lot of the problems we have in the world today, you might not think this is a really big thing, but business is one of the most important players in the world, on the planet. It's one of the strongest forces on the planet. So business has a big role to play in this arena. And so I would argue that getting an IRS, getting some legislation that would codify this into law would be a very important step for BLAB to take. I was making a joke. Ideally, again, you would have tax benefits, and that's what most people set up a corporation for, is the liability arena and the tax benefits. So ideally, but Philadelphia is the only, I guess, city that allows, and that's not even a federal level, that's the only city that allows the tax benefits to accrue to the organization. And then, of course, you're going to see in a little bit how many states have now adopted this type of legislation, and you can see that, as we grow these movements within state by state, and Hawaii is one of the leading states, then hopefully there'll be more interest at a national level in getting this kind of designation. So to date, as of August 2013, we have 20 laws passed. 20 laws passed in 20 states, and 11 are working on the law. So this is good news. That's 31 if we get in those first 50 states. So hey, we're making some progress. And if we can cover the whole nation, we can probably get, maybe if we get to 40 or something like that, I'm just guessing, maybe we can get legislators at the federal level to pay attention to us and actually do something about it. Because I think we all agree that sustainability in business is something that we sorely need, given the state of our country. So now, I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Delaware Corporation. Okay, so now Delaware is important, so they just recently passed legislation on July 17th. So now we have Delaware. So as you can see, 50% of all these companies have been created to date are in Delaware. So we're hoping now with Delaware on board that we'll have more leverage. So how do we work in Hawaii? Hawaii is the fifth state out of 20 to enact legislation allowing for the formation, and here we call it a Sustainable Business Corporation, SBC. So, but in most other states, that's public benefit corporation, yeah? The Hawaii SBC, in order to do this, you have to include in your articles of incorporation declarations to benefit the community, employees, customers, and the environment as stakeholders. Everybody know what a stakeholder is? Stakeholder is everyone that touches your business and everyone who you touch in your business. They are a stakeholder. There's core stakeholders and there's fringe stakeholders, but they're all important. And then you also have to measure the business against these metrics, third-party certification that Trent's going to talk about a little bit later, and then appoint a third-party benefits director to publish an annual report. So you report out. You do it on the internal, you report out on the external. So what are the advantages to this kind of business? Well, we talked about the marketing opportunity, the differentiation of your business from other people who are just really, plowing through the society and the environment without consideration. And you can also engender loyalty of your customers depending on your business. No greenwashing allowed. Don't allow that. We want you to stick true to your values. So this is another way that Benefit Corporation can help business, is to rebuild trust in business. I mean, we have to say that maybe trust is the number one most valuable commodity that business can involve themselves in, right? Okay, so I'm running a little late. I can see Daita telling me to hurry up. So I'm going to roll pretty fast through these. These are just some of the most frequently asked questions that we run into. It doesn't actually replace these other designations. It actually adds an extra layer of accountability. And accountability and transparency are two more values of a benefit corporation. So it's not an IRS designation. It's not a replacement for your existing corporation status. And it's not a legal tax classification yet. Okay, so if a company is an LLC, can it be an SBC in Hawaii? And the answer is no. Maryland, which is where I hail from, is the only state that has created the benefit LLC. So they have an LLC, it's actually a benefit LLC. By the way, if you are interested in metrics, look up Genuine Progress Indicator on the web and look for what Maryland is doing with statewide level for their sustainability initiatives with respect to progress indicators. They are leading the pack. So an LLC can still participate in any third-party certification program, including a B Corp. Third-party assessment certification programs. So these are some of the third-party assessment programs that are out there. DBED, Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, Malama Kauai Green Business Program. These things all just sprouted up on their own and so, are in support of this recent legislation in Hawaii. Kuleana Green Business Program, and at the national level we have Green America and the B Corp designation. Certified B Corp versus Sustainable Business Corporation. Hawaii Benefit Corporation is a legal status administered by the state. You do not need to be certified by VLAB. It's kind of confusing. There's all these different names and things, but it's actually fairly simple once you become familiar with it. The Sustainable Business Corporation is a benefit corporation in Hawaii. That's really all you need to know. Certified B Corp is a certification conferred by the nonprofit B Lab, which they're going to talk about in a little bit. So the B Corp, what is certified B Corp? Meet independent and comprehensive and transparent standards of social and environmental performance. Meet higher standards of transparency. So I mentioned transparency and accountability earlier. These are two of the three values. And then environmental, social and environmental performance. Are you actually benefiting your communities and the environment in the area in which you do business? So we already said that we use the power of business. And these are some of the metrics that you're measured on when you go to get certified as a B Corporation. Governance, how do you make decisions? Are you transparent? Are you accountable? Do you report out? Workers, how do you treat your workers? Community, do you go upstream and downstream in your supply chain and try to push sustainability values upstream and downstream? Environment, energy use, and then your products and services targeting. And you'll get this report from them. And so there's a lot of communication involved here. And then it's about building a new sector of the economy. The community of B Corps is building a global movement that will create a more inclusive and sustainable economy. In the U.S. today, there's this global. This is global. So this is kind of a status report on where we are globally. We have 807 B corporations. Is that greater now?
That's the most current.
That's the most current. Good. So over 60 industries, 27 countries, one unifying goal: social, environmental, and business. values. Who are these? These are some of kind of a snapshot of who are the business corporations. You see any up there that you're surprised at? I'm a little surprised by this one right here, New Resource Bank. You know, I don't normally traditionally think of a bank as somebody who does environmental, social, and profit type of things. But I mean, Patagonia, Ben & Jerry's, you probably have heard of. So just look at that and say, hey, you know, I'm in good company. And then here are the certified B Corps in Hawaii. And KYA Design Group, I see Tamara here somewhere from there. Tamara, yeah, and Smart Sustainability Consulting, Shanah. So these 2 of the 5 B Corps. You're a B Corp here? Oh, you're with Bedrock. Okay, so we have 5 B Corps in Hawaii here in this room. So make sure you talk to those people about how's it going. You know, how are you doing? How can I be like you? You know, because we need more. And then there you go. Just I challenge you. Go out and change the world for business. And there's the, if you want to just bcorporation.net and then search Hawaii, you can just go to that, find information. So we have our membership stuff back there on the table back there under the squid eye, and you can join up tonight for half price. And you know, we want to see your face in this room and see your company's logo on our slideshow in the future. So thank you. And, feel free to come talk to any of us tonight. So the next person to speak is Shanah Trevenna of Smart Sustainability Consulting, and she's going to give us even a more inspirational route towards sustainable business.
Hello everyone. It's so good to see, as Rob said, so many familiar faces and so many new faces. It just makes us know that there is a strong foundation and that it's just ever growing. So thanks for making it here tonight. I was invited by the Sustainable Business Development Council to come to a roundtable yesterday to speak with the Council for Education and Business to Senator Schatz. And I was one of 5 businesses invited. One of the reasons is that I'm a B Corp. And I really came ready to put all of this information on his radar about the SBC and the B Corp. And I actually had the other businesses just run around the table and they spoke before I spoke. And one was from food, and one was from hospitality, one was from hotel management, you know, and everyone's from these different industries, yet I kept hearing the same thing, and they spoke so passionately. And there's one gentleman that owned a business, a restaurant that we would all know, that actually teared up just before I spoke. And everyone said the same thing. It's so hard to do business in Hawaii. I don't know what to do with the future in terms of 2 major things. One is that the taxes are so challenging, and the other is that electricity prices keep going up. And I was really surprised to hear this. I knew this because of the industry I'm in, but to hear all these different sectors saying the same thing. So when I got handed the microphone, I said, okay, I wasn't going to talk about anything that I'm about to talk about. And I said, when I first came here to Hawaii, I believed that Hawaii could be food and energy independent in my lifetime. And that's when I came here about 7 years ago. I think we all feel this way, right?
Yes.
There was not very much at the University of Hawaii that was preparing young students to make their way into that type of work. And so I created a program called RISE. Has anyone heard of that? Great. Oh, great. I co-founded it with the EPA. It's now run by Ashley Lucan, who's sitting here as the executive director, and it's housed at Kupu. Yeah, gay Ashley. And what we believed is that we could have students work with businesses and organizations in the state to show them that sustainability can put money into their pockets right away. The fastest way to do it. And we started off with 2 interns that went to the Coast Guard and did a waste audit and found $40,000 of no-cost savings that they implemented immediately. And the hope that I had was not only would this good work get done, but that these organizations and businesses would get used to these people and like them and see the work that they were capable of doing and realize that if they hired them full-time, that not only would they get some more good work done, these people would pay themselves back 2-3-fold every single year they were employed. And so our goal with the RISE program was to create jobs that never existed before. And now you can see 30, 40 different interns interns out there working all across the state, creating jobs that never happened before. And so I'd like to put together a Pauhana with the community, and he has been tireless in putting this together, and really comes from a place where he has seen a lot of what's going around the nation. I think we're very lucky to have his perspective, so please help me welcome Trent.
Okay, thank you everyone. So what I'm here to do, so I'm here representing my own company and B Lab as well tonight. And so what our agenda tonight was to give a deep understanding of what the global international movement was, and then how it directly affects Hawaii, and then provide a leading B Corp example of how that decision came to be made, the history behind that, what the benefits are to being a benefit corporation, and why you should choose that as well. And so what my part of the presentation is now is why this is not specifically this is not a marketing. This is a new sector of our economy. And so I want to preface that before I start. And what my business does in collaboration with B Lab is helps companies that are B Corps or act like B Corps to monetize on that investment. Because it is easier, as we all know as entrepreneurs, to just drive profits, right? And it takes money out of our pocket and out of our employees sometimes to be a good, sustainable, great company for ourselves and for the community and for our employees. So, B Corp Solutions. So prior to starting this company, I was a director for nonprofits for 15 years, where I mentioned earlier I was in education, I did work in social services, and over the years, with a business background, you find yourself being elevated to a director position, and as anyone who's involved in nonprofits, raising money. And so where my expertise came in with my business background was creating for-profit enterprises inside of nonprofits to diversify and increase revenue. So I see a lot of head shaking, which you can understand the next head shake of how frustrating that is to do, because I was required to get donors to think like investors and investors to think like donors, which is incredibly rewarding and also unbelievably frustrating. So I knew there had to be a better way, so I went searching for it, and I found examples of companies that were doing it, but there was no system. So I did what a lot of people do at that stage in their career. I went to grad school. And at graduate school, in my very first class, Professor Feminelli, New Ventures and Entrepreneurship, had us all going around a room like this telling us, what is your idea? And it basically was an entire group saying, I'm going to be Mark Zuckerberg and make $1 billion. And he stopped after the third person and he said, I have a challenge for you. Instead of thinking about what you're going to do, why don't you think about a problem that exists in society and you figure out a way to fix it? And instead of worrying about how much money it's going to make you, here's my challenge. Create 10 high-paying jobs that will allow your employees to pay for their own house, have their kid go to private school, have their kids go to college without taking out student loans, and save for retirement so they can have a good life. If you do that, you will never have to worry about how much money you make because you'll have these people that will die for you. And you'll never have to justify what you do because you committed to solving a problem. So from that, I was like, the light went off, right? This is what I was searching for, and it happened literally on day one of grad school. That's how it should happen, right? And so I went to Dr. Finelli after class and I said, where did you find this? And he said, B Lab, right? I never heard of B Corps. It was my introduction. We had coffee. This is in Boston. We went for beers. And then basically, he introduced me why I love B Corp, why you should all love B Corp, because truly what they're doing is they are investing in all of us to create and build this new economy. And they do that in three specific ways. And this is why you should support them, and why we're here to support all of you as business owners and entrepreneurs. Is that they do three very critical, simple things. Is they highlight, just like tonight, the work that we're all doing and the sacrifices that we're making to make a difference in the world and be good to employees and make money. And then the second thing is they're removing the legal limitations that existed in the past for investment in social entrepreneurship. Specifically, I don't know if all of you know this, that in the past, the way that corporate law was set up, you had to maximize profits for your shareholders. If you failed to do so, they could sue you as an executive or as a board member, and if you lost, they could force you to change your business model. That was the original impetus, if you will, for the creation of B Lab. Those guys, when they sold their company, they lost that investment over all that time. And the final thing is, by creating those standards that hold us accountable, that are transparent, and highlighting the work we do, it's driving capital to invest in all of our businesses, which we really need, right? And so, to date, that number is around $2.7 trillion, which is invested in sustainable, environmentally conscious B Corps and companies that act like B Corps. So, what I want to do now is kind of transition very specifically into what we do as a company, but what I'm really trying to do is highlight what B Lab has done. Like, I'm a certified B Corp and a legal B Corp in the state of California. And I have a client, Little Pickle Press, that is a leading B Corp. I mean, this is a company who has great products, right? They have 13 children's books and apps and lesson plans that have won 39 awards. They were the independent publisher of the year last year, but they're also a great company. Like, through her B Lab, by being a certified B Corp, she's rated as one of the top 10 B Corps for her business size. And she's fun. Reina Diorio is her name, you should all check her out. On her business card, it's Chief Executive Pickle, okay? So she's like, she has a sense of, and this is an investment banker with a law degree, right? So somehow she figured a way to still have a lot of fun. So she is a client, so just like all B Corps, we are evaluated on how we give back to the community, right? So my company gives 10% of profits to charities that are aligned with my business. And as B Corps, a lot of us are giving, the average is above 20% of profit. So imagine that, our margin and what we have to create to be able to give back to that. And so one of their partners is One. So is everyone familiar with one.org? Do we all know about One? Right? Bono, it's Bono's organization. And what they do really well. They mobilize people around the world to make an impact, to make a difference, alleviating extreme poverty, right? They do that fantastic. What they don't do well is engaging children and their families in their cause. So they created a partnership with Little Pickle Press. They have this book, What Does It Mean to Be Global? And it has apps and lesson plans, and they put it on their website, and they sold out. And then so they came to Little Pickle Press and they said, will you help us devise a strategy to reach kids and families? Well, Little Pickle Press is a for-profit business. She's an investment banker. She doesn't have an idea of how to navigate the nonprofit world. And one.org, while it's funded by some of the wealthiest people, most successful people in the world, it's not their area of expertise either. So B Lab introduces Reina to me to help them come up with the strategy, right? And so very specifically, what I'm talking about now is, I think, going back to what Shanah was talking about, like, do we form a nonprofit? Do we form a B Corp? Do we form a C Corp? What I'm here to show you is what's possible when you think a little bit outside the box of how you can generate revenue and impact for everybody. And this is the best example that we could come up with. So that's what we do. So we help benefit corporations and companies that act like benefit corporations. And what I mean by that is, your business model is tied to doing something good in the world, not just making money, right? So, and we help you to maximize your potential by creating innovative partnerships with nonprofits and the corporations to support them, right? We do that very specifically 3 ways. Create partnerships with high-performing nonprofits. When I say high-performing nonprofits, just like as some of us who come from a nonprofit background, we're not held to the same performance standard that's as easily measurable as for-profit businesses, right? So like, it's profits. So high-performing nonprofits are very transparent with their donor funds and what their impact is. So who are those nonprofits out there aligned with you? We help you set up those relationships. And then we individualize your product and services to create co-branded products to drive revenue for both your company and for the nonprofit. And then finally, we create volunteer skill-based programs for the corporations that support the nonprofit that then in turn purchase and support your business, which is providing that, okay? So I know that was a lot really quick, but does everyone follow me? So here's what we came up with, okay? So we do it just like any other consulting company. There's an assessment part, we look at all their businesses, we talk to their one.org, their partners, and then we come up with what we think is the best strategy to create that program. So for us, there's an assessment, And then there is what we call the pilot project, where we actually develop that project, the marketing, we do the whole lead to market strategy, bring it to market, learn from it, which leads to stage 4 where we scale it to your other products and services. So for this particular example, what we came up with was One Kids. So you have one.org, which is everybody, and then inside of one.org they have One Moms, which is made up of the moms who have kids. And so this program is specifically designed to reach those individuals, which is awesome for one.org because it's almost 4 million members around the world. So it's a huge group of people. And they typically, one.org members are some of the most engaged, active people out there in the nonprofit community. So what does the program look like? Just to give you an example of what's possible. And so I'm sharing this with you as B Corps and as potential B Corps to think about how you do your philanthropy, how you're engaging your employees in volunteer programs, but most importantly, how are you selling your products and services to the nonprofit community in a way that can increase revenue for them and increase revenue for you, and most importantly, increase your impact. Because as a B Corp, you're measured on what your impact is on the community as well. So very specific. So you have Little Pickle Press is the publishing company, and they have this book, What Does It Mean to Be Global? And so there's a book, there's an app, and there's a lesson plan. And so what we did is we worked with one.org's marketing team and program development people, and we adapted the app to have basically a roadmap of what does it mean to be a social activist. So creating the next generation of social activists. So it's literally a roadmap for kids to do something, to write their legislator, to raise money in their school, to sell those products. And then we go to the companies that already support one.org. So companies that think of you, when we're going through this, think about you as a company, the nonprofits that you support and partner with. So in this particular case, Time Incorporated has board members, they're very interested in this product, so they co-brand this book. So it becomes Little Pickle Press, What Does It Mean to Be Global, underwritten by Time Incorporated. They buy 20,000 copies of this book at a cost that we negotiate that allows one.org to make its profits. And then those profits, that book is sold at a reduced rate by one.org, or the community partners, or kids can sell the book as part of this program. Those pre-sales have been one Kids, and then all of those stories are uploaded through the social apps connected to one.org. So they're getting 20,000 different stories of kids, of what they're doing to care about the community, how they're organizing their school, all those sort of things, that then get translated into the impact that it has and a marketing campaign that's being launched next year, and then the circle just continues. Okay, so once that pilot, so just in this one program alone, what we're projecting out of this is we're going to reach 20,000 children in this program. 100 schools have already signed up to incorporate the curriculum into the program. And understand this is a little bit easier because we have Bono as the spokesperson, right? It's not that hard. The 25 most inspirational stories are being partnered with Dreka, that independent video distributor is going to distribute those into meaningful stories. And here's where it gets really interesting for all of us as business people, right? It's going to generate $300,000 in unrestricted funds for one.org, which is enormous, right? Anyone who's been a nonprofit, those are money you can pay people to do good work with. And then finally, it's going to generate over $200,000 in new revenue, and this is a book that last year sold less than 100 grand. So the next stage is we start looking at the other books in their catalog, right? So what does it mean to be safe? The Safe from Harm program is for the 4 million members around the world for the Salvation Army Volunteers, their child safety program. So same model of revenue generation. Spaghetti is about autism, so we're looking at other autistic groups that support autism. And what does it mean to be green in the San Francisco Film Festival? It's the same model of revenue. So these books are driving mission, but helping these organizations to raise money, but most importantly, it's generating revenue and diversifying it for the B Corps. So I think, right, this is such a great saying. Be the change you wish to see in the world. So as a B Corp, you get to do both. You get to help nonprofits which so desperately need the power of business to make a difference, but you also get to help ourselves. And so I always close this back. So what the long-term benefits for my model is that this is helping is getting the same benefit, and then my company as well is getting that benefit because I'm able to generate, my revenue is tied to the success of these products as well. So in closing, I just want to thank everyone else. Before I introduce Bill Spencer, who's going to talk to us from High Impact, is we are all available to any of you. Dermot and Andy are both specifically with B-Lab with the nonprofit, so any sort of B-Lab related certification, legislative questions, these are the great people to answer those. And for me, I'm here as a resource for all of you to explore what those options might be. If it's a good fit, of course, we can help you in any way that we saw fit. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Bill from High Impact. And Bill, I actually met Bill 6 or 7 months ago on the phone through Chris Cargile, who's over here in the corner, and Bill has the coolest business going on right now that I could think of. So he should take a moment to tell you about that as well.
Thank you, Trent. Can everyone hear me if I can speak without the microphone? Does that work? No? Okay. I'll cozy up to this microphone and chat with you about this. First of all, everybody keeps asking what happened to your arm, what happened to your arm. Well, I was taken down by 10-year-old twin nieces a couple of weeks ago. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I've been around for a while. Many of you know me as president of the Hawaii Venture Capital Association. I've been leading that organization since 1999. I was on the board in 1995. And I also helped found Hawaii Angels, which is our only angel investor network here in Hawaii. And I'm also here tonight to represent an organization called High Impact, which is really devoted to capacity building in Hawaii for two groups: impact entrepreneurs and impact investors. And I'll tell you a little more about that, but I want to diverge from my specific topic just to talk to you a little bit about the B Corp phenomenon and try and share a little advice with you. And Trent, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I wanted to, first of all, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 10 years old, which is when my dad stopped giving me an allowance. So I had to actually go out and earn some money at that ripe young age. So I've got 50 years experience in entrepreneurship. And when I came to Hawaii in 1985, the first thing I realized as an entrepreneur was there was no venture capital, no investment capital, really formal investment capital to help companies get started in business. And in fact, when I had a software business and I started asking around, where can I meet some investors, venture capitalists? And they looked at me like, what's a venture capitalist? And then they said, well, you could go talk to George Ariyoshi. And George had transferred from being governor to being a private sector person. They said, oh, you could talk to the Magoon family. The Magoon family founded Hawaiian Airlines. And when I talked to them about my software business, I was sort of like talking to this wall right here. I was like, what's software? So I found out the hard way that there wasn't a lot of money to be had, and practically speaking, we're still in that situation. Although over the last 25 years that I've been actively involved in building the tech sector, the tech part of the economy represents about $3.5 billion now, whereas when I first came here in 1985, you could count the number of tech companies on one broken arm. Now I started a business that I consider to be a triple bottom line business about 7 years ago in 2006, devoted to sustainability of seafood. Because by the year 2030, with 9 billion people on the planet, there simply isn't going to be enough seafood to go around. Half of all seafood we consume today is actually being farmed. It's a $100 billion industry. The ocean has reached maximum sustainable yield, and it's the last place on Earth where we still hunt for food. It's crazy. But the UN Food Agriculture Organization says that by 2030 we need to double farmed output. So how are we going to do it? There's not enough land, there's not enough fresh water to do it in land-based situations, but we're surrounded by ocean, especially here in Hawaii. So my triple bottom line business is to domesticate seafood production out in the open ocean where there's plenty of water to mineralize the effluent and maintain a pristine ocean environment, to raise seafood in a much more efficient manner than it's even produced in the wild. For example, people don't realize this, but predator fish like tuna and swordfish, all the ones we love, they're eating fish that have eaten fish that have eaten fish all the way down the food chain. So if you add up those fish, the food conversion ratio of a wild-caught tuna is 100 pounds of other fish for every pound of growth. Now think about that for a second. That's an astonishing figure. Cattle require 7 pounds of grain or grass for every pound of growth, which is still a lot. 4, 5, and 6 pounds for chicken, pigs, and lamb. Plus, all those things require fresh water. If you can successfully grow predator fish in the open ocean, the actual food conversion ratio is closer to 4 to 1. And in some cases, using specially formulated feed, we're seeing 1 to 1. So this is why I think what I'm doing personally as an entrepreneur is environmentally sustainable and socially responsible business and sustainable business corp. You know, I'm a great believer in thinking big. So not thinking local, acting global, not thinking global and acting local, but thinking global and acting local. Because entrepreneurs today, I don't think will be successful unless we think big and embrace the values of the B Corp, social, environmental, and return on investment for investors. I don't know how many times over the last 15 years as president of HBCA, people have come up to me, and they come up all the time. Bill, I got this great idea. Can you help me find some money? I need money. And many of those people are people with the notion of a nonprofit. And they say, I have this great idea for a nonprofit. Can you help me find some money? And I've always said, well, you know, we're the Hawaii Venture Capital Association. Our investors want to see a return on investment. Why wouldn't you want to be a profitable business? What's wrong with that? Well, corporations are evil. Haven't you seen Alien? Haven't you seen Avatar? I mean, corporations are just horrible, evil things. Well, come on. They're not. Those profits mean you have a successful business, you're paying your employees, paying taxes, which contribute to education, and all those things that we take for granted that are government business. So I'm of a mind that corporations aren't evil, that you can have a value-laden, transparent business that serves social and environmental, as well as the needs of your investors. I think that's what it's all about. Now, one thing, Trent, I'd just like to, you can verify this. 2 years ago, I went through the B Corp process. And it's not simple. I mean, I don't know how many pages and how long it took me. I think it took me 2 days to go through the process, and I get my results back, and I scored like an 85%, right? And then I get an interview from a B Corp person to talk to me about my business, and we get through the interview about an hour later, and she says, so how many employees did you say you had? And I said, well, 4. She said, well, you're sort of really a startup, aren't you? And I said, oh yeah, we're a startup. She said, well, we don't qualify. Now, I'm saying that because for those of you who are startups, I think it's important to go through the B Corp process. But unless they're changing, I know they're thinking about changing because, you know, frankly, it's sort of like anything you start. If you start with a vision in the beginning, you have goals and you set your sights, then you have sort of a clear path to follow. But Trent,
To
yes.
answer that is, they want you to have 6 months of revenue.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be positive revenue, but just you've been selling your stuff to people for 6 months.
Which helps, believe me, that helps.
Yeah, you can be
So
a
do
B Corp and
investors.
not be
Investors
positive.
actually want to see you be post-revenue also, before they're going to write a big check. In my case, because of what we're doing, it's actually taken me 7 years to get all of the permits required to actually execute my business plan. My final permit was just signed on August 1st, this is the beginning of this month, by the Army Corps of Engineers. They have been processing that permit for 3 years and 9 months. A very painful, long time. So I could be qualified. So just to be clear, I don't think, as much as I respect the B Corp, I think what you have to do is like what Shanah suggests. You have to think it through, and you have to think through your values, and you use those as templates to guide you. And then when you reach that point where you can get the certification, go for it. But back to high impact. I don't know if I'm already over time, but what we're going to continue to try and do with high impact is to support educational events like this, educate the entrepreneurs and the investors, because our goal is really ultimately to start an impact investment venture fund here in Roth. And so those of you that want to participate in that, please come see me. Keep track of highimpact.org on the net and look for our events. We'll be very happy to do what we can to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. I do realize that on our schedule was Shanah Farnsworth was going to be the speaker. It's really designed to be that unifying standard base. That's what they're trying to set up. So just like when you want to analyze a company as a VC, you got to go and get funding. They're going to look at what's your debt ratio, all those measurable outcomes and impacts. This assessment allows you to do that when you're in the development stage. And when you start, I get a lot of requests in my business to help people introduce to people like Bill that can get funding for their startup. And if you're going to go into this sector, you need to be able to demonstrate or be able to predict mathematically what your impact is going to be, and that's a great place to start. And it's standardized, and that's what we're all trying to achieve here, is we all in agreement that this is the direction that we want to go. So in closing, I want to thank everyone again, and I just want to have our sponsors, so we should definitely thank Box Deli, and we should thank Bedrock Brewery for all of our awesome beers. And I don't know if any of you have ever been to the Volcano Winery on the Big Island, but it is a unique experience, to say the least, growing grapes on that place. So he does an amazing job, and they even grow tea, I learned. I did a great tour. So they provided that as well. And then obviously Shanah and all of her help getting this all organized and getting all of you here, and the Sustainable Association, High Impact, and that's it. So please feel free to stay around. I'm sure we got way too much beer and way too much wine, but we did pretty good on the food, it looks like, so thank you once again. All right.